Welcome back, my curious souls. Mountain Mama here, and today I'm going to go over some more information in regards to Kentucky Giants. There were so many who were just as excited as me when it came to this kind of history, so I wanted to answer some of those questions. I got a lot around what counties these were found in, the years, and what happened to the remains. So we're going to dig in a little bit deeper. Now, that first video goes over some of these counties, and I've actually compiled a list of some of the more notable locations that these have been found. Please understand this list is not a end-all be-all as to all of the giant type remains that have been found within Kentucky. I'm sure there are a lot more undiscovered or maybe even reported. I highly recommend doing your own research, and please let me know as you find more. Now, we also have to remember that there could also be a lot unreported. There is still very much a stigma around this kind of information, so we want to make sure to keep that in mind. Now, when it comes to the remains, I want to start off in letting you know it's not mentioned in a lot of these as to what happened to the remains. There are some cases where archaeologists came in and then the remains just aren't talked about again, or within the article, there is no update on what happened to these remains. Okay, bear with me as I go through this list. So let's start out with Meade County, Kentucky. This was around the 1840s time frame, but the article that actually covered this was wrote in 2020. This is when a farmer found a skull in a cave of giant proportions, and there was no mentions of what happened to the remains. Now we have Columbia, Kentucky, 1876, when two young men by the name of White explored what they thought was a fox den, but they got more than they bargained for. When they found a 8-foot skeleton, it actually implies that there were multiple skeletons, and they found these huge swords laying near them that actually crumpled to the touch. And this was posted in the Mariposa Gazette, and I may have said that wrong. Bell County, Kentucky, 1896, John Winter finds giant remains while digging in his cellar. Pine Grove, Kentucky, that we mentioned before, this was 1911 when Hugh Yates, a prosperous landowner of the time, found the 12-foot skeletal remains under a high cliff, called in his neighbors, the whole brigade. They find multiple skeletons along with artifacts on this one, and this was posted in the Cincinnati Enquirer. Glasgow, Kentucky, 1927, man finds skeletal remains of giant proportions while working his land, and this was in the Canton Daily News. Holly Creek, Kentucky, 1965, Kenneth White finds skeletal remains of giant proportions while working his land and building stalls for his cattle. And last, we have Bowling Green, Kentucky, where a 9-foot skeleton was found, and there was actually no year provided in this newspaper clipping. So let me know what you find, what questions you have. I'll always do my best to answer them. I have a lot of resources, but most of all, stay curious, my souls.